years, and I'm like, hey, I'm just getting old. So finally I went to the eye doctor, and I hadn't been there in like a long time. And now she's told me that I need to go possibly see a specialist. And you can see on here her drawing of my left eye, because it's kind of like turning almost into a weird snake eye. And I don't know if you guys can read those comments. I'm sorry, I have my name covered up, but my eye is like going vertically. I don't know if you can see when I blink, but there's like a, I don't know, weird snakish. But the weird thing about it is that there's other stuff going on with my body that I don't understand, and I don't know if anybody else does. So I'll flip this around real quick. As promised, this is me. I said I was going to do a Mother's Day video of different, I guess, part of my body, since people want shapeshifter updates. You can see these portions where I go through and make things grow. Well, let me show an example first before I go into how it looks when it goes back down. So if we just film, I don't know, pick any portion of my leg here. This is just my leg, nothing weird or whatnot. And just check this out. And again, this is the front part of my leg, not like a calf portion. We'll see how now I can make this start to pop up. A little bit higher. Starting to change. And it's my whole leg going. Flip it around. Now it's growing even more. Again, this is the front part of my leg, not my calf that's being flexed or something like that. And when it goes down, well, I guess I'll just do a different video so I can show that, but okay, sorry that my body's not like super in shape right now, but that's the other weird thing is anytime that I've worked out in my life, I always can get like ridiculously huge in a small amount of time. And I have pictures I can upload and show of me like in a 30-week different program, and I gain like 80 or 90 pounds. It's like weird, but right now on my body, it's like my joints are growing extra limbs, and you can see right here. I don't know if you can, I mean, this isn't some edit, Photoshop or whatever. I can do it as fast as you want, but I'm growing like an extra arm out my elbow. It's not hurt, it's not bruised. I can touch it or whatnot. Same thing on the other side. Let's see if we can change. There you go. White background. You can see that's growing out there. My shoulders and delts are getting weird. And my hands, if you notice, I can pop that out and look at my thumb or that digit right there. And again, you can look on both sides. That's not some edit. That is me growing an extra finger or something. So I don't know what's going on with me or my body. And I don't know if there's other people like me out there. But if so, help.
So again, you can look at that and you can say to yourself, well, I don't believe it. I think he's making it up. I mean, I really would doubt that somebody would make those things up, that he's, clearly has something wrong. Again, he's military, so you know what that means. He's clearly 100% taking it. We know that that's, when strange things start happening, this is what I said in a video I just did on the website. When things start happening that aren't normal, and people are like, oh, we're seeing a rise in this, then you should be able to figure out why there's a spike in certain things going on, why there's a spike in Parkinson's, why there's a spike in dementia, why there's a spike in liver failure, why there's a spike in sudden death syndrome in adults. Why would there suddenly be a spike? Did a bird take a, fart in the sky and suddenly the air has changed and everybody, I mean, what do people actually think? What has everybody just done? What science experiment has everybody just been a part of? Which would make these types of things occur. But of course they won't cover this stuff. Why would they? Because they want to make sure people line up for the next one and the next one and the next one. And what am I talking about? Well, let me show you. Let me show you this science experiment and just how it works.
What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
I work in the team of Case Decker, and I work on designing graphene nanopores to sequence DNA at a single molecule level. So the idea of DNA sequencing is to read the content of your genome. And what you want is a recorder that can read the sequence of your DNA, but for that you need a recorder that is not bigger than the size of a single base. So we are using graphene because graphene is only 1 atom thin. So we are really doing high technology with very simple methods. So we take a piece of graphite here, we put the graphite onto the scotch tape, we extrude it once, we take a silicon wafer here in which that we bring into contact with the graphene, we press hard, we end up with a piece of wafer that somewhere has a graphene layer. And then we'll bring that chip to a transmission electron microscope to burn a nanopore into it. So then we take this chip, we flow on both sides a buffer, and on one side we inject the DNA molecule, and that's what we can record. There are still a few challenges to overcome, but all the technology I mentioned is in the size of this little chip here that could be used by a physician in his office to sequence the DNA of one of his patients in only a few minutes rather than a few days.
So you actually do.
We think of copper as being a very electrically conductive material, but graphene conducts electricity even better than copper. The reason that graphene conducts electricity so well is that the electrons can move fantastically fast. This gives graphene limitless applications, including conductive paints and inks, faster next-generation electronics, high-frequency devices, and more efficient batteries.
We were working on experiments that we hadn't even thought of 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Graphene throws up all sorts of new challenges for completely new types of science to do. It's hard to think of another type of material in which you would have those sort of challenges thrown up on a weekly, almost daily basis. That's what's really exciting about graphene. Graphene was first isolated and many of its properties were first identified by scientists working in the physics department at Manchester from 2004 onwards. What's happened over the last decade is that there's been a big expansion of graphene work into my own department, which is chemistry, into material science, into the life sciences and into engineering. Really, I think the advantage we have in Manchester is that we have a lot of fundamental expertise from the physics department in graphene, but we've got a kind of seamless transition of graphene from its very fundamental properties to the applications which are being explored. It might even be, in fact, effectively sewed into somebody's skin. You can imagine that's science fiction. Because we're relying more and more on renewable energy, from wind, from the tide, from the sun, then we need ways of storing that energy. And how do you store that energy? Well, essentially, giant banks of batteries and supercapacitors are feasible ways of storing that energy, but we need to improve the technology, and graphene can really make a difference there. In fact, effectively sewed into somebody's skin. You can imagine that's science fiction, but I can't see why that wouldn't happen in the future.
Hexagonal lattice of carbon atoms called graphene. It's single atom thick, but stronger than steel. It conducts electricity and heat efficiently and has been slowly realizing its potential as a game changer. Kostya Novoselov, who won the Nobel Prize for his work on graphene, says one great application is in communications, because graphene is completely transparent and can transmit information via optical circuits incredibly quickly and efficiently.
It just allows you to push the signal processing into the optical domains, and honestly, I don't think any other material apart from graphene can do the same, can change its optical state at the same pace. So I think that's probably one of the most exciting and at the same time realistic applications.
Lightweight graphene can be easily incorporated into everything from shoes to clothing to cars, and that will make them strong, flexible, and smart. And its ability to move information quickly is going to be part of what makes the super-fast 5G networks that are coming soon possible.
We started to see it first in composite material applications, in sport goods. Now it goes into advanced cars, but now we already start to see it being used for electronics, for printed electronics, and I think it just develops with a very good pace for a new material.
Graphene is also making more efficient solar panels possible, and it's making smart electronics smarter and faster. But graphene might even soon be making people better.
I think we will see more interesting applications, like applications in biotechnology, maybe in membrane technology. So those are quite exciting, but they need a little bit more time to mature.
Novoselov says graphene circuits are so sensitive, an atom-thin probe can read and map brain activity and send that information to doctors or a phone in case of medical emergency.
This transparent strip is made of one of the strongest materials on Earth. And now, we're going to inject this into your body. Could it make your cells regenerate faster? Would this mineral ever leave your system? This is What If, and here's what would happen. Humans have been using graphite to draw since the Stone Age, and now we mine it to keep our batteries charged and machines lubed. But graphene, well, that's something new. This material, first seen in 2004, is only 1 atom thick. Found after peeling off transparent tape from graphite, the mineral stuck to the tape was named graphene. And it might be the first two-dimensional substance ever discovered. But don't be fooled by its size. Graphene is 100 times stronger than steel and powerful enough to repel most gases and liquids. Discovering it has revolutionized battery and information technology, but if graphene atoms enter your bloodstream, what would happen to your cells? You can create graphene oxide by oxidizing graphite. And this nanoparticle, graphene oxide, can be used in medical treatments since it breaks down in water fast. Drugs injected into your system could be delivered to their destinations faster thanks to this cheap and readily available substance. Studies in lab rats have shown that graphene caused tumors to shrink. Other tests showed that graphene might even make your bones regenerate quicker. But all this comes at a cost. We'll come back to that. If that much graphene oxide entered your bloodstream, the consequences might be dire. Remember, our knowledge of graphene is limited. So, what do we know? Well, studies in mice show that graphene can build up inside the lungs. Graphene sheets only nanometers thick would grow and collect, causing fluids to build up inside your lungs. You could drown on the inside without even touching a drop of water. But what would graphene do to your brain. Well, if you were injected with graphene, a small amount could cross the dreaded blood-brain barrier. This roadblock in your nervous system stops bacteria and viruses from getting into your brain. Now, if graphene enters your brain, most of the mineral would dissolve over the next 2 days, but you're not in the clear yet. The jagged graphene nanoparticles could pierce your blood cells and completely disrupt their function. And if it damages your kidney cells, proteins could leak into your urine. This would make your eyes and ankles swell. This condition, known as nephrotic syndrome, would also kill your appetite. Well, you might have lost that already. While graphene has quickly revolutionized the tech and medical industries, we still don't know what this mineral can do to us in the long run. Is it a miracle of nature, or is it a killer in disguise?
We chase them.
Send word to Katie Prime to begin selling us spice reserves. You have no idea how much it cost me to bring such a force to bear here. No, I only have one requirement. Kill them all.
Let's put some ferrofluid on the plate. Ferrofluid is made of nanoparticles of iron, and when you apply a magnetic field to them, they follow the magnetic field lines in this spiky pattern here. The stronger the magnetic field is, the closer together the spikes form. So first let me show you what happens when I move a regular magnet near the ferrofluid. You can see it just sucks it up to the magnet. Okay, now let's bring the superconductor up to it. Okay, watch it push the spikes out of the way as I bring it close. That's because it's opposing the magnetic field at first. Now if I were able to get it closer, then it would lock in place and it wouldn't push the spikes out of the way. But if I push it any closer, it's going to go into the ferrofluid. Another cool thing I observed is that when you bring it near the ferrofluid, the spikes actually start to flow towards it. Now this seemed odd to me because there wasn't a reason magnetically why it should do that. So I tested it with just plastic that was cold, not a superconductor, and it did the same thing.
Bring it over to the point of the bolt and just gently drop it on there.
Okay.
In fact, you don't even have to touch it. It'll get pulled right over because of the magnetic field.
Wow, look at it building up. Whoa, that is so cool. It's turning, I don't even know how to describe it. It almost looks like if I touched it, it'd be spiky.
Watch this. Okay, the magnet is actually drawing those particles. Keep loading it up. We're going to see how much fluid we can get on here. If you notice, you look really close, you can see they're like little spikes.
Yeah, that's what it almost looks like. If I were to touch it, it would be spiky. And clearly, I know that's not the case.
It's actually soft. It's still a liquid, but because of the magnetic field, it's actually taking on a different shape. Those little particles are actually little magnets, but they've been coated with a surfactant so they won't stick to themselves. But in the presence of a very strong magnet, they'll begin to take on these interesting shapes.
Oh, look, it's starting to get spiky even on the threading of the bolt.
Yeah.
That is super neat.
So it's fighting against gravity. The gravity's pulling it down. The magnet's pulling it down. Surface tension is trying to create these interesting shapes.
Sure.
But so it looks cool, right?
Yeah,
it's
looks
really
very
interesting,
cool.
Very cool. What would you use it for? Is the real question. And so if you have a hard drive with a spinning axis that you want to seal, you can use ferrofluid. You put two magnets around the axle, and the ferrofluid will form a seal around the axle. Or if you want to separate things that are non-magnetic, this is a copper penny.
Sure, but we know that it's only partially, not fully copper, right?
You're right. It's zinc inside and a little copper on the outside, but in either case, it's not magnetic. Okay,
right.
It
Yeah, we know that.
anything.
It's not going to stick to the fridge or anything like that.
How would I separate that out? We can use ferrofluid. So watch this. Load up my little cup with some ferrofluid. Just use the whole container. Just
like
you
that.
can
Just
pour
dump it in?
Yeah, just dump it in. It's okay. And if we,
that good?
Yeah, that's perfect. If we take the magnet and drop it inside, no great surprise, it's simply going to sink to the bottom.
Sure.
Now, here's where things might get a little bit messy. Watch out.
Woo!
Okay, If I take this super strong magnet and pull it away and put it underneath,
whoa,
the penny will float to the top.
Yeah, immediately.
Immediately. And if I take it away from the magnet, the penny sinks.
Wow.
If I bring it down to the ferrofluid,
and
penny
so
floats
that's
to the
just the
top.
force?
The ferrofluid is actually, and I can have you feel it. I'm going to put this magnet back under the plate, and I want you to reach in with your gloves and touch that clump of ferrofluid. What does it feel like? Describe that.
Oh, gel. It feels like a hard, gooey gel, and I can't grab it off here even though I want to.
The density of the material has changed in the presence of a magnetic field, and this is one way that recyclers can actually separate non-magnetic or non-ferrous metals from magnetic metals.
That is so neat, and yeah, you can't, I'm trying to even separate it,
crazy,
and it won't work.
It feels like jello, it's really weird, but if we do take the magnet away, I'll try not to splash, it goes right back to a liquid.
Wow, that is really neat. So then this almost, in theory, can be reused as well, the actual...
It can, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
There's even some talk of using this sort of nanotechnology to target drugs. So if we attach a specific drug to the nanoparticles here, we could put it in an entire body and it would all be dilute. But if we target an organ with a strong magnetic field, we can actually cause all of the drugs to go to that one location.
So in theory, if you needed maybe a heart medicine that you didn't want going elsewhere,
in theory, yes,
there could be a magnet used so that we could
target that stuff using the tiny nanoparticles, and then take the field away. It disperses throughout the body, and you're fine.
Can't commit to anything but a quirk. Leaders on vacation and invite them. Hills burn in California. Quiet when I'm coming home and I'm on my own. Let me let you go.
I'm afraid you won't survive.
Some cells inside me will fight and defend their integrity till the very end.
It's moving. did not find us. We found you. Think of yourself as my bride.
You gonna eat anybody else?
Most likely. Is why we are here. Cooperate, and you might just survive.
And don't make me have to give it back to academics. You had it when you thought you had me slipping at the telly. Even when he ain't spitting like this on his last shit. Oh, you better go back and live. Revenge is the best medicine. Increase the dose from least to most and then tell the graph. What? Piss and moan, but I'm not gonna fall.
So all those clips you saw together, all those clips, right? So you can understand what's trying to be done. And I get it when people see it, they're like, oh, that's science fiction, the stuff with Venom, all the movies showing it. Is it though? We're talking about magnetism. We're talking about suddenly these towers that are I mean, this is an experiment that's being done on people. And people look at it and they're like, that's all crazy sci-fi stuff. Just look at Operation Paperclip. Okay, go back to Operation Paperclip, which is documented, which is real, that people who are anti-conspiracy, who believe everything the government tells them or everything that, the media tells them. Operation Paperclip has been, exposed. They've discussed it. There's no conspiracy around it. And look at the experiments that were being done on humans then, where they were literally like sewing twins together, like human centipedes, and doing all these types of sick experiments where people saw and they were like, this is monstrous. Oh, and those types of people were brought over from Germany and put into our government, put into the CIA, and doing all these experiments on people. This was many, many decades ago. Now, you don't think that they do experiments on the human race. You're part of a human experiment right now. You're a part of something out of human centipede, so to speak. That's how insane this is. But those clips are to show you and help you wake up to what's actually going on. People are transforming, ladies and gentlemen. As crazy as it sounds, I totally get it. If you're new to this and you're like, I can't comprehend that. I can't, what? I don't get, no. Okay, I said it in a recent video. I think I said it in the video I did on the website. If you went up to somebody with a bottle of rat poison and told them to drink it, they'd say no. But if you put a label on the rat poison that says water or medicine, they'll take it, okay? Without question. Because why? They've been trained. Oh, rat poison, they can't take that. Oh, but this is medicine. This is good. And people have willingly done this to themselves. And now we are dealing with the after effects. And that's why it's very quiet in the media. We're not hearing much about it like we normally do. Because people are transforming. People are dying. People are getting sick. And what are they doing? Oh, they're just rolling out the one for the 6-month-old. That's how sick this is. And I can't get deeper into that. Only on the website I can really talk about this topic. But I wanted to throw a video up here on YouTube for people just so that they're aware. It's really important stuff. So they have an understanding of what's happening. And I know it's hard to wrap your brain around it because it seems like it's out of a movie. But that's why they put this stuff in movies. So that you react that way and you go, yeah, all right. Oh, that can't happen. That's why they constantly do that to people. They desensitize you. They make you think it's all fiction and that could never happen, that humans wouldn't try to do that to other humans. Just look at Operation Paperclip. If you're brand new to this stuff, just look it up and look into photos. Google image some of the pictures and then read about these wicked doctors, quote unquote doctors, who came over and were doing these disgusting experiments on humans. And they never stopped. They never stopped. MK Ultra. We've seen all the stuff that the CIA has openly done to people. Cloning, all of this. They've openly admitted to it, but people still think it's a conspiracy. Now, this ain't a conspiracy no more. This is what's actually happening. And what you're seeing go on right now is a massive transformation. They've been telling us about it for years and years, these witches in Hollywood. They've been using predictive programming. They've been using sigil magic, showing us all those clips you saw, movie after movie. What do you think? They were just like, let's do a movie, and we're going to have Scarlett Johansson turn into black goo, and she's going to connect with the technology. I mean, are you kidding me? But anyway, I was talking about the Antichrist, because that's what anti-diary is, and they actually show what you saw in that clip with the goo coming out. And they talk about the transformation, because that's what's occurring now, the transformation. Reminder, check out the website at callfornuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Hope to see you right over there. I want to thank everybody here on YouTube. Appreciate the support. God bless you and your families.